Hello, 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 and welcome to another excuse for me not to play RTA. It's a balance patch adjustment preview. This will come out in like 3 weeks, I think. I don't know the time frame of when this stuff happens. I just play the game and complain when things don't go my way. The only thing I know is one thing about FCC, otherwise, and Uberi's Tooth. Otherwise, I have not read this, so you will be getting my legitimate reaction to everything except for FCC, where I will be upset. But we'll get to that. I don't know if she's first, but she's up there. Anyway, 8 heroes, 2 artifacts. It's scheduled to take place on the 13th, so 2 weeks. Not that bad. Pretty good. It made some I haven't been seeing very much use. FCC, she's back. Remnant Violet, I wonder why they're buffing him. Lilias, alright. DN, Crow, Ludwig, Roz? Oh, and Adventurer Roz. Well, those kind of... But that's not even 8 units then. That's 7. That's 7. One of them is just the same person, but his specialty change. Alright, well. Wings of Light and Shadow and Uberius's Tooth. Okay. Probability number turns are based on fully... Okay, FCC. So her S1. Looks like the only thing that is changing is that her soul burn's going from... Oh god, reducing the cooldown on her S3 to ignoring ER on her S1 to get that provoke. Looks like it also deals more damage, which is interesting. Okay, I guess maybe build a crit. I guess it doesn't matter, but yeah, that's interesting. Increases max health by 10%. Oh, well, okay. Barrier strength increase. So her barriers, basically what they're doing is making her barriers bigger. So, hey, keep an eye out on DJB. He might be relevant again. Which is wonderful because I love DJB, and that's not irony or not sarcasm. I know it sounded sarcastic, but I legitimately love DJB. He is my wife's favorite, and I have a soft spot for him as well. Yeah, okay. S3. Damage dealt increases, acquires 3 souls instead of 2. Its cooldown has been reduced by 1. We'll get to that. Dispels all buffs before granting skill nod once to all allies. Cannot trigger a counterattack. Okay, so it can't trigger a counter, which means the skill nods get to stay on until your opponent moves, or until another person triggers a counterattack. Dispels all buffs is actually pretty cool. That I think will just be, based on her effectiveness, which if you're building effectiveness FCC, why? I have questions for you. And then we get... Oh boy, we get to the... I don't know why they did this, but they did it. Her imprint is now speed. So this is where, if I were technologically savvy, I would insert the meme of you either die a hero or live long enough to see yourself become a villain. But in this case, it's you either kill Cleave or live long enough to see yourself be an anchor for Cleave. Because now Cleave can very easily, if they would like an anchor, first pick FCC. Because if they want to go to tank down, if they get first pick, they'll pick FCC, see how the opponent reacts, and then they can just go Cleave if it's able to go Cleave or tank down. Because now she's just a speed imprint for no reason whatsoever. I do not know why, but this one change has legitimately made FCC very good for Cleave. Also against Cleave, which is equally weird. She's playing both sides of the table, and I don't know how I feel about it. Everything else sounds good. I have no complaints, except for the imprint. I don't know why they did this. They could have changed it to like health percent. They had so many options and they went with speed? Why? just okay. Well, prepare to see her in and out of cleave a lot. I want to see their reasoning. Imprint release now increases, and the target will remain the same. What does that mean? More versatile? Existing strength while becoming more versatile. So they just want her to be used in standard and in cleave. Okay, well, whatever. Remnant Violet, S3, increases its combat readiness by 50%. Wow, who does that work really well with? Pyra, maybe, with her, buff that gives them 50% CR. So now Violet can just S3 and then get an immediate S1. Great. His damage dealt increases, I'm sure, to help get around Ilanov. And its cooldown has been shortened. That's it. They just changed him to make him work with Pyra better and to help get around Ilanov better because they made a mistake with, stopping pen resist. They're not going to stop, and I've said it before, but now we just have to wait for we have penetration, we have penetration resist, and now we just have to wait for the unit that gives penetration resistance, so that someone who can resist the ability to resist penetration. I hate the path we're taking, but sure. Okay. So they made him work exclusively better with Pyra. He's still outside of Pyra, he's still a clown. Because everyone that doesn't have Flan's level of evasion, i.e. 100%, will just get hit and die. So, outside of Pyra, nothing probably changes. Within Pyra, you might start seeing damage or a speed Rylet again, which would be interesting, but, whatever. She no longer... so this is a lie. Sorry. She no longer increases her critical hit chance by 50% when attacking. She just gains 50% hit chance just as a bonus. When she activates her S2, it dispels all buffs from the caster and activates suppression against the enemy caster. And suppression is just provoke. So that hasn't changed. It can... Oh, the cleanse can only happen every 2 turns. So it's more of a one-time thing. Because the way she was currently, whenever an enemy used a non-attack skill... Or maybe... Yeah. I think I'm reading that right. She'll only dispel all of the debuffs once every 2 turns. The way she is now, anytime a non-attack skill is done, she'll cleanse 1 debuff. And that could be 5 non-attack skills, she'll cleanse 5 debuffs. As it is now, when they use a non-attack skill, it will dispel all of the debuffs, and then another non-attack skill will not cleanse any debuffs. I think is how that's read. Because the other one specifies specifically suppression can only be activated once every 2 turns. This one doesn't say anything. It just says can only be activated once every 2 turns. So I wonder if that'll change her. Her S3 deals more damage if the target is provoked, and it does more damage overall. Sure, not the biggest change, but Yeah, accordingly, the effect to dispel debuffs will be adjusted. So if they use a non-attack skill and she provokes and doesn't push up high enough and then DDR goes, she will get both of DDR's debuffs. Which may be a nerf, depending. We'll have to see. But it is interesting. I don't know that this will help her play, because she was really good against Lua, but Lua doesn't... Well, she could be still used against Hellion Lua. But even then, it's a little iffy. Interesting, nonetheless. DN. I think they just... Did they just swap her... Yeah, they just swapped her S2 and her S3. Her S2 now gives attack and barrier to everybody, and her S3 now dispels all debuffs instead of 2, and grants increased critical hit resistance for 3 turns and increases combat readiness by 50%. So now her S3 cleanses and her S2 increases attack, as opposed to the opposite. Increased critical hit resistance is very interesting. And increased penetration resistance, which is a new buff by the looks of it. So she gives crit resistance and pen resistance for 3 turns, which seems very, very good, actually. That's a lot of buffs. Dien might be good again. That'd be pretty pog. Mine's currently just getting hit in the face by Wyvern constantly over and over and over again. I might need to rebuild her with this. This sounds pretty cool, actually, if I'm honest. I wonder how that works with... I imagine it's just separate roles with, like, Wukong and stuff. Like, a roll for 50%. But it doesn't... It's not something that either... It's not like crit resist where you have a 50% chance to not get crit. You just have 50% pen resistance. Interesting. That seems very good. I'm excited. I'm excited for Dien. Let's see. Crow. When the skill is available according to cooldown, receives 25% of damage suffered by all. So he's got Escort. A slightly worse Escort. Okay. That's pretty good. He's kind of like an Arwell now. His S3 attacks the enemies by summoning Siegfried and absorbs some of the damage dealt as health. So he's kind of more like Yolha now. When the skill is available, according to this, receives 25%. Oh, that's the same thing. Okay, so the only... Yeah, okay. Got it. His soul burn decreases damage dealt... What? His soul burn turns it into LRK? What? Hot damn. Alright, well, he still dies to injury like everyone else in the game, but might need to build him too. That's pretty cool. That's wild. Because I was like, decreases... I saw this. I didn't scroll down. I was like, decreases damage down. Why would they decrease the damage that does with Soulburn? But attacking all enemies, that's kind of wild, actually. Okay, so his exclusive is decreases cooldown of summons over 1 turn. Okay. Sounds good. Ludwig, don't care. Attacks the enemy with light. His S3 increases his combat readiness by 50%, regardless of if they stun or not. Okay. Sure. Don't care. Ludwig increases attack of the caster for 2 turns when using Moonlight Blow, as opposed to damage dealt. Decreases defense for 2 turns when using Moonlight Blow. Okay. They got rid of some restrictions, but it's Ludwig. Who cares? Roz. Damage dealt, increases defense. Okay, so they made his regular form more A-Roz-y. And then his A-Roz just does more damage. Healing increased with his S3. After the ally in the back row is attacked when health is 50%, grants for 3 turns. Barrier strength is... Okay. So they get a longer barrier. And it's whenever their HP goes below 50% HP, as opposed to whenever they take more than 30% damage. Okay. Interesting. Oh, and his S2 now has an 85% chance to decrease defense. Interesting. I don't think this will change him much, but that is fascinating regardless. Wings of Light and Shadow. Used to be when attacking, if a critical hit is made, increases the damage of the next attack by 10 to 20%. Now it is when attacking, increases damage dealt by 7 to 14%. And a critical hit increases damage of the next attack by an additional 4 to 8%. I still don't know that anybody will use this, but that is just a better form, a better use of that artifact. But I still don't think anybody will use it. Knights have too many good artifacts. They either want the mitigation ones like Adamant Shield or Aureus or stuff like that, or they want like 3F, Elbrus, etc. So I just don't see. Maybe like Charles ? But I don't think anybody will use that. Ooh, a Beerius Tooth. After attacking. Okay, so it's just AoE now also works as opposed to single attack. Okay, so this changes specifically for Pyra, because I can't think of any other warrior that would really want this artifact. Maybe Strays, but Strays is neutered by the existence of Ilanov and now DN. So I don't think that'll really change anything for Beerius Tooth. If you're going to use Beerius Tooth, you'll probably still use it on the same units. Like, Arunca doesn't see all that much play anymore. But now it can go on more people, which is nice, but I don't know that anybody will use it still. It's still very niche. Yeah, I guess that's it. Okay. So that's all the changes. Beerius Tooth changed for Pyra. I don't know who else would use it. Maybe Strays. Wings of Light and Shadow, good change. Don't think it'll see any use. A-Raz, I don't think this will help him get back into the meta, but it is very appreciated. Raz is just now A-Raz. Ludwig, if you like Ludwig, I'm sure it's great for you, but I couldn't care less. Crow seems kind of good. I may have to build him. Because he's just Yolha now as well, but with built-in escort, which isn't bad. Isn't bad at all. DN seems kind of cracked. I'll have to build her for not. I'll have to change who's in front for my Wyvern. But DM seems kind of good. We might use her. Lilias also seems pretty good. I don't know that I'll build her, but it's a nice change. But there's also some downside to it, with being unable to cleanse multiple debuffs as more non-attack skills are done. Now it's just a one-shot, and they can just, they can work around that. Remnant Violet is used specifically with Pyra better. Otherwise, he just does more damage. He'll still get hit and die. And then FCC, we'll have to see. She can be a problem now for Standard or for Cleave. But I see her being mostly used as a speed imprint. But a speed imprint that you can trick people into thinking is not a speed imprint. Because nobody is going to expect the fucking knight to have a speed imprint. Especially if they didn't pay attention to the balance notes. But yeah. Interesting. No Architect Leica, no Opsig. So I'm wondering what they're going to do with them. Probably exclusive equipment that will change nothing. But who knows? We'll have to see. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. Let me know your thoughts on these changes down below. Gotta drive that engagement or whatever. I don't know. I'm a terrible YouTuber. Anyway, thank you all for watching. I love all of you. I hope you have a great rest of your day. Bye-bye.